morning coffee with Maddog Merv. Uh, this one's a little, this one's a little strong. I slur my words a little bit. I'm sitting about 24 degrees currently outside here. And I just got out of bed because, well, decided night last night. And I'll tell you about that here. But welcome to our live, well, semi-live. I think I'm alive. Maybe after some of this. Version of morning coffee with Maddog Merv. Good morning to you. So last night I was watching the NFL wild card games. They were both real barn burners, real good games. Both of them were good and close down to the wire. Just very, very entertaining. And after I finished that, gone over to my son's for some chicken cordon bleu, which was great. And then we were watching the 5th season of Stranger Things, which I've seen. Good morning, Mark. How are you, my friend? I forgot to ask you if you and Brad watch the Stranger Things. It's actually a really good series. What I like about it isn't the fact it's monsters and alternate dimension and all that stuff like that. No, what I like about it, it's set in the mid-'80s. And the attention to detail they put into this show is absolutely amazing. And so, of course, it's going to have me riveted. Music, the cars, just the dress, everything. The little stuff you see in the background. There was a bumper sticker that said something about Halley's Comet that I saw in one of the episodes. I thought, wow, I remember when that happened. And, you really don't even think about it unless you were there during that time. It's really popular. And like I said, when you see it, you'll kind of understand why I like it so much. Again, every morning it's like this, Pete. And no, I didn't grab the vapor rub this morning, so I still got the frog in my throat. Anyway, so I was up much later than I should have been last night, and I enjoyed it. So yesterday was just an awesome day all around. After going and getting my morning coffee and breakfast at my favorite breakfast establishment, I went over to the Kittling's warehouse. And I got to tell you guys, and I think we all have them, especially you're just, it's like accepted. You're not criticized. You're not, you're valued, and you can just talk and be with like-minded people who are, also just trying to get out of the house type of thing, if you understand what I mean. And they, it's just a great community. We used to call it Cheers. My one friend and I used to call it Cheers because it's where everyone knows your name. And there we have the world's most interesting modeler. We have Loic Antheon, who's the owner of Kittlings. And wonderful, wonderful guy. Loic, if you've never met him, he is just wonderful, wonderful gentleman. And then there's our customers that are, we don't even call them customers, really. I mean, he kind of refers to it that way because that's what they are, but they're more our friends, if anything else, because, like I said, it's just a place where you go, unwind for a few minutes. It's just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I always come out of it feeling on top of the world. I feel like one of the Beatles just getting off the plane because it's just that kind of a positive atmosphere. And I hope every one of you guys has something like that in your life. and I get to go there once a month and enjoy that kind of a ambiance. And I tell you, I miss it from the days when I was a store manager, and it was like that every day. But anyway, that was my day yesterday, and it was wonderful. Besides some 3D printing. So we'll get right into this. A shout out that I wanted to do was to a channel called Ghost Towns and More. I've mentioned them before. They're definitely worth checking out. They go to ghost towns. I like looking at these old ghost towns, but the story that they tell, the way they tell the story, and the way they shoot their video, it's, to me, it draws me in because it's good quality and the stories are fantastic. So check them out if you get a chance, and if you have any interest in, say, the Old West or ghost towns, things like that, Ghost Towns and More. So last week on this channel we did not do a main show, meaning we need to do it this week. So we will do something tomorrow. I've been, again, last hour, and I'm working on the engine for the Torino, but I don't know if I'm going to get it where I really want to show it to you guys. That's the thing. Even though I've been working on it and it's coming along well, I've had a lot of other stuff going on, and it's my own fault. I could just concentrate on that engine and the world would be great, but a lot of other stuff has been happening. I'll tell you about some of it, and I've decided that well, maybe we'll do that show tomorrow. We'll see how things go today, but again, trying to stay away from rushing and meeting deadlines and things, and just trying to enjoy life a little bit more. We'll see. I may get it done, I may not. We may look at some of the 3D prints that I've been doing recently. You guys might find interesting, because when I looked at what I've been doing in the last month or so, I'm like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. So yes, I've still been printing like crazy. So we might look at that. I don't know. We'll do something tomorrow. Anyway, Kit Hoarder Stash. We looked at that German Graf Zeppelin, and that was I want to say it's kind of a bucket list. It's in the top 10 of my bucket list kits. The reason being, studying history as a youth, and World War II history, and sink the Bismarck, all that cool stuff, and wow, the Germans could have had a aircraft carrier. They got it built, but because of I've got bigger priorities, I've got other things I want to spend the budget on. Well, okay, that's fine, and it was probably for the best anyway, because one heavily armed aircraft carrier wasn't going to make much of a difference. It might have in 1940 in the North Atlantic, might have, but it's like with the Bismarck, all it took was one hit, and well, that's all she wrote. So it's a neat footnote to history, but I don't think it would have been, in the grand scheme of things, anything. Check it out on YouTube. Like I've said before, check it out on YouTube. There's a lot of great guys who've done great pieces on the history of the Graf Zeppelin, the aircraft carrier. This 350 scale kit comes in between somewhere between about $110 and $150, depending on where you get it. And it's been out for quite some time, but it's got a lot of parts. It's got all that photo etch in it, including the railings. I mean, it's plug and play. You do it, and someday I hope to get to it, because it is on the bucket list, but it's not a priority right now. It's going to be a big thing when it's built. So it's one of those things I kind of had to have in that scale. And thanks to Kit Links, well, I was able to get it. So this week we'll do something. It'll probably be a Warhammer in 40K, honestly. Uh, but we'll do something on Thursday for either Warhammer in 40K or Kit Hoarder Stash. Just depends on where things land for me this week. But I've been doing, I've been getting a few more kits still. Most of what I've been doing, though, I've been 3D printing some kits. And I think I showed you guys a few of the bodies that I've been working on. I found another one that is something I need for two different little projects, if you will. So one project is I'd like to build a model of each one of the cars that I owned over the years. That would be a whole lot of fun. Some of them I thought, oh, that'll never happen because they just don't have a kit of that. Well, now with 3D have printed that my dad owned. It was the last one he owned. After he retired, I got a young family, and well, I could use a station wagon, so I had the wagon for a while, and eventually sold it and I'm gone. But man, it was a great car. Anyway, found an STL file and printed it. My daughter, who's a fan of horror movies, I made her that the Bel Air from Supernatural a while back. Well, there's a station wagon driven by the doctor that is hunting Mike Myers down. And that station wagon looks, other than the color, looks exactly like my dad's. And so she said, hey, Dad, if you feel up to it, I would love to have one of these, someday to go with my my Supernatural set of stuff. Well, when I found this STL, I had to print it. So, yeah, I've got a station wagon that is, parts of it are still on the printer. It's quite the kit. And I plan on building not only that one for her, but one for me that's, of course, hot rodded up. So, the station wagons, when they're hot rodded, actually look pretty darn cool. Look at the Dodge Magnum, for example. So, anyway, that I've been printing, and we will have a show on Thursday, and then we'll do morning coffee next week. Don't know where we'll be, but we'll do it. I was hoping to be somewhere else today, but it wasn't in the cards, so we're out here. What has been going on this week besides 3D printing? We had a little incident here. Some of you know about it. I mean, anybody in the U.S. definitely heard about it. And some of you guys in other parts of the world may have heard about it as well, because it was in the national. But in the Rose Park section of Salt Lake City, it was just kind of a normal occurrence. I hate to say that something like that's normal, but it's happened over the years so many times. And there was a shooting at a church. Now, this was, I want to say, Wednesday night. Again, over at my son's, watching Stranger Things. Had just had dinner, and I get a call from one of my other boys. He says, Dad, you're going to want to lock the doors. There's been a shooting in the neighborhood. They don't have, the people are at large. And I asked him where the shooting was. He told me. He says they've got this intersection blocked off. I mean, it was like a half mile of road that was blocked off, and reports were anywhere from 38 to 100 police cars, all with their lights on. And in some of the videos that you see, yeah, there's a big long line. Oh, it's freezing up off and on. Okay, thanks, I appreciate that. That's not good. Bad signal. Well, maybe we'll go out. Maybe we'll go outside where it's really cold. If we do, the dogs will probably bug me. But I'll get back to my story here in just a second. I wanted to show you these things real quick, and then I'm going to step out here where the signal's a little bit better. So I wanted to show you guys one of the things that I did print this week was toilets. Hey, I got all those 25th scale figures. They got to go somewhere. Now, I've been wanting to, for my 25th scale shop for years, I've been wanting to do a bathroom, but I've never wanted to try and sculpt a toilet. So I found this set. There's like 5 different toilets, which was really nice. There's a couple here that actually would be, like this one, would be, proper to use. And then I also printed up a sink. So, yeah, we even have the kitchen sink here. I'm going to walk outside with you guys real quick and see if that will help the signal. So, give me just a eau de cologne minute here, and we'll go outside with our coffee. Thanks for letting me know about the issue. Scary in there. Okay. So, this week, like I was telling you, I get this call from my son about this shooting, and it was at a church that is, I'd say it's about a quarter mile from the house here. Now, in this neighborhood, over the years, we've heard a lot of gunshots. The most recent was, I think, 2 years ago, right before Christmas, heard some gunshots. And it turned out that across the street, my neighbors had their inflatables on their lawn, like a penguin and something else all dressed up for Christmas. Anyway, those got shot in a drive-by shooting. Yes, here, right across the street. So, shootings in this neighborhood are not uncommon. I hate to say that. We immediately, okay, son, that's fine. I'm not going to worry about the doors and that, because this was at the church down the street. They have recently, in the last few months, reorganized the boundaries for the different wards and the stakes here in Salt Lake. And this ward, this ward house is now used for a couple of Polynesian wards. Now, when I say wards, those of you who don't know what they are, they're just congregations, but they're divided into what we call wards out here. So you'll have, let's say, a 3 square mile area that, for example, that is, like, say, the first ward. And then you'll have another 3 square mile area nearby that is the second ward or whatever. So that's kind of how it's organized out here. And this is 2 Polynesian wards that meet there. And a lot of the Polynesian folks that live here, which, by the way, I have a couple of sons that best friends were some Polynesian men, and very, very wonderful folks. Kind of a neat culture. Really family oriented, and a lot of folks would migrate from the islands to the U.S. and they'd wind up coming into like Los Angeles and whatnot. Well, in the era they came in the 80s, 90s, a lot of gang activity, and of course, kids fall into that kind of stuff, and so the parents trying to get them out of that or away from that would come up here. Again, these were people that were predominantly LDS, which is the Mormons, the church that is the predominant church here. So that's kind of the history behind it, just real quick. But anyway, these Polynesian wards meet there, and the first thing that came to my mind was, oh no, this is probably gang related. The reason I say that is because here on the west side, now keep in mind I worked in every one of the west side schools, including the high schools, and in my tenure in working in the schools, the west side of Salt Lake City is the rough side, There's a little neighborhood called Glendale, and Glendale is like what Watts used to be in LA. Just, not a, you hear about, going down to Watts and say, oh boy, that's a scary area. Well, Glendale got that reputation, followed by Rose Park. So these two areas were well known for gang activity over the years. And working in the schools, I got to see a lot of that. Okay, so there's your background, and I knew immediately, oh, this has got to be something gang related. This is terrible. And they were saying it was at a funeral, and that was inaccurate. It was actually more of a celebration of life. This gentleman who had passed away was going to be going back to They were going to send his body back to California for the funeral, and beforehand, they wanted to have a service, if you will, a remembrance or whatever you want to call it, for the family here. Now, when I say the family, you must understand that in a Polynesian culture, family is not only very important, but family is, like 90, 100, 200 people. So a lot of us think, well, get together for the family. Well, yeah, that's probably a couple of aunts and uncles, and maybe a couple of cousins, and things like that. Oh no, 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 no. Oh no, 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 no. We've had a couple of and I can't remember what exactly the official term is. I'm sorry, but they're kind of the morning. I don't want to say morning ritual, but they're the when a Polynesian, sometimes when these Polynesian folks pass, they will have a get together at one of the houses where they'll dig a pit in the backyard, they'll roast a pig, and they build a big tent, and they'll have several days of remembrance, if you will. I don't want to say celebration, because, well, it is. It's celebrating the life of the person. That's the thing. It's not some sad thing. It's celebrating the life of the person, which I think is awesome. And we've had a few of those here in this neighborhood, and they're actually pretty amazing, because you'll get a couple hundred people at one of these little houses, parking all up and down the road, and you've got this tent in the back, and you can smell the roast pig, and and that's the thing. The folks are very open too. I mean, they're very, very kind and very, sharing type of thing. The luau, thank you. Appreciate that, Mark. Gosh, you know how my brain is. So anyway, this was a celebration of life, and yes, some of the attendees were either gang members or former gang members, and that's just how it was. Now, whether it was internal within the gang, or whether it was a rival gang or what, they still haven't determined that, because there's just not a lot of cooperation from the people that were involved. But the long story short is, there was shots fired, 2 people lost their life. One guy was just a kind of an innocent bystander, was walking out to his car to get some more baby formula, because one of his 12 kids needed his formula. So, and just happened to get in the crossfire. There's still, I think, 5 people in the hospital recovering that fortunately don't have life-threatening wounds, but 2 people lost their life with that. So it was a bit exciting. As soon as my son talked to me, I get on my app that is for the scanner, and so I can listen to what's going on. I can hear the play-by-play from the police and how they find a person of interest and hiding in a car, and they get him out and whatnot. And then I'm watching the feeds on Facebook and from other people and the news to kind of see what's going on, because, well, it is my neighborhood after all. So anyway, there was that excitement this week. And along with that, like I said, we had a lot of printing. I have been working more and more on these family prints that I've been doing, and maybe that's what we'll show you guys tomorrow. Prints of my some of my ancestors that I thought would be fun to have. and some for my friends that I've been giving to my friends, and they're pretty excited about their. Oh, wow, that's really cool. So these 3D prints that I'm making, I want to say they're making an impact. They are of some importance to these folks, and yeah, maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow. We'll show you guys that instead of the engine. One of the prints that I did was for my son-in-law, who is in Texas, and he was blown away by it. And he promptly takes it, puts it in some AI program, and makes it sing. I was like, "Wow, that's the coolest thing ever!" So I'll show that to you guys tomorrow in the show that we do tomorrow. So pretty neat. Like I say, I've been 3D printing the station wagon, a bunch of figures, some other things for some other people that have asked me to get some prints done. So between that and painting, the shooting, the having the grandkids over, things like that, it's just been a really wild week. In other words, it is a typical week at Maddog Merv's place. So I hope you guys are all doing well. We had some really good weather, and when I say good weather, in the 50s all last week, and then we got a storm that moved through towards the end of the week, and that storm brought a little bit of snow to some areas of the valley. I didn't get anything, but it definitely dropped the temperatures. So we're in a pattern right now of highs in the upper 30s, and the lows overnight in the lower 20s. So yes, it gets quite chilly, but I don't mind it. Trying to work it's difficult. Trying to paint or do anything, my hands tend to freeze up in it. But other than that, I don't mind the cold too terribly much. I much prefer the warmth. But anyway, well, guys, thank you for joining us today for morning coffee. Just a reminder, yes, we will do something tomorrow. We will have a show tomorrow, and we will have something on Thursday. And I do appreciate you guys that follow and support the channel. It's led to some wonderful friendships, some great inspiration that you guys pass on to me, and helps me to stay centered on the things that are more important in life, and that is people. Because just like this week showed to a couple of families, life can change in just a blink like that. So, all right, hey, yeah, Mark, we're gonna have to try and do lunch this week. I'm gonna look at my schedule and see. I know that things have changed a bit with my daughter and her new work. So my days that I'm available have kind of changed around a bit, which is good. So maybe we can get together for lunch this week. That'd be lovely. All right, folks, y'all have a great week. Pete, thanks for all you do, and sorry to I had to do that on the time thing. I had to do it. Well, you know me. Come on, it's all in good fun. If I ever come across like I'm being a jerk or condescending or anything like that, it's certainly not intended, guys. It's part of my weird, warped sense of humor sometimes. So, all right, we'll let you go. See you tomorrow. Have a good day. I'm going to finish my coffee.